Did you know that Buddhism actually has its own version of the devil? But here's the twist. This figure isn't just one lone being like the Christian Satan. No, this one has 3 daughters, and each daughter, she represents a powerful type of temptation that humans face every single day. The crazy part? These seductive forces are still at work today, right now, through your phone, your habits, even your thoughts, and you probably don't even realize it. Today, we're diving into the dark side of Buddhist mythology to meet Mara, the closest thing Buddhism has to a devil, and his 3 daughters who've been messing with human minds for thousands of years. But here's the thing. Once you learn how to spot these 3, you just might unlock the key to breaking free from the cycle of suffering that keeps us stuck. Hey Wisdom Seekers, Matt here, and today we're going deep into one of the wildest and most eye-opening stories from Buddhist tradition. Way before Buddhism spread worldwide, before meditation apps blew up, there was this pivotal moment. The Buddha himself faced an epic showdown with Mara, the Lord of Death and Desire. In many ways, the ultimate villain in Buddhist thought. But Mara didn't fight alone. He sent his 3 daughters, and each one represents a core temptation humans still struggle with today. Tanhā, craving, Arati, discontent, boredom, and Raga, passion, lust. These forces, these temptations, they've kept us stuck for thousands of years. And here's what makes this story so fascinating. It perfectly maps onto the psychological traps we all fall into today, often without even realizing it. Modern life, social media, distraction, these are just new versions of an ancient battle. So, picture this, the future Buddha sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, determined to crack the code on human suffering. It's late at night, the stars are out, he's on the verge of enlightenment, but then the air shifts. Something powerful approaches, something that does not want him to succeed. That's when Mara shows up. His voice slithers through the darkness. Turn back, young prince. This path leads nowhere. Your family, your kingdom, they need you. Why torture yourself for nothing? This is the Mara of Buddhist lore. And that night, he unleashes everything. First, demon armies with weapons and fire, then storms, earthquakes, chaos. But Buddha remains unmoved, doesn't even flinch. So, Mara switches tactics, smarter tactics. He sends in his 3 daughters. Their mission? Seduce and distract the Buddha with 3 irresistible forces: craving, discontent, and passion. Now, in ancient texts, these daughters don't always appear the same way. Sometimes they're beautiful dancers, other times nurturing figures, sometimes even wise teachers. They shift into whatever form is most likely to break your focus, because their real power isn't in how they look, it's in the mental states they create. Before we go deeper into the 3 daughters, let's zoom in on Mara for a second. Who is this guy? In Buddhist tradition, Mara isn't some cartoonish villain or some cosmic force of evil. He's more subtle and honestly more terrifying. His name literally means destroyer. He's the force that keeps us trapped in suffering, in the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. And here's where it gets really interesting and very different from the Christian concept of Satan. Mara isn't some external being warring against good. He's more like that voice in your head. Just one more episode. Check your phone one more time. Grab one more cookie. He's not after your soul. He's after your attention, your focus, your mental freedom. In Buddhist cosmology, Mara actually rules over the highest heaven of the desire realm. Think about that. The Buddhist devil lives in heaven. Why? Because the biggest traps in life often look like pleasures. Now, scholars debate. Was Mara a literal demon the Buddha faced, or was Mara a symbol, a personification of internal struggles we all face? The coolest part? It doesn't even matter. Either way, Mara represents the forces that keep us stuck. Ever tried to start a new habit, like meditating, exercising, eating better, only to find yourself distracted, doubting, pulled away? That's Mara in action. And what makes Mara scarier than the Western devil? Well, Satan tempts you to break rules. Mara tempts you to break promises to yourself. Satan wants your soul in some afterlife. Mara, he wants your mind, right now. In ancient texts like the Sutta Nipata, Buddha describes Mara as the one who delights in sensual pleasures, not because pleasure is bad, but because being trapped in endless chasing of temporary pleasures keeps us from true happiness. And here's one of the most radical things Buddha taught. You don't need to worship anyone or pray to defeat Mara. No rituals, no exorcisms. The key is awareness, just seeing him clearly. As Buddha once said, "I see you, Mara."
4 words. That's it. But those words change everything. Because once you recognize the trap, its power over you weakens. But Mara's greatest strength? His 3 daughters. And that's where this story really gets juicy. Each daughter represents a psychological temptation we all face. Craving, Tanha. Discontent, Arati. Passion, Raga. And they're not ancient relics. They're active right now. Through every ad, every notification, every social media post designed to hook you. So let's meet the first daughter, Tanha, whose name literally means thirst or craving. Of all Mara's daughters, she's probably the one you spend the most time with, often without realizing it. Think about that feeling when you really want something, like really need it. The pull in your chest, the sense that you won't be happy until you get it. That's Tanha doing her thing. In ancient texts, Tanha is called the maker of the chains that bind us to endless rebirth. But in simple terms, she's why you can't stop at one potato chip. She's why you scroll endlessly, shop compulsively, chase likes. Tanha whispers, one more scroll, one more purchase, one more bite, then you'll be happy. In fact, Buddha identified Tanha as the root cause of suffering. Of all the problems in life, he pointed to craving as number 1. Now you might be thinking, wait, aren't desires normal? Don't we need goals? And the Buddha agreed. It's not wanting itself that's the issue. It's clinging. The subtle difference between "I'd like a new phone" versus "I won't be happy until I get that phone." Tanha's grip is especially strong in modern life. Social media? It's her playground. Every scroll is designed to make you want more. Every ad crafted to trigger that itch. And modern science backs this up. Studies show the dopamine spike comes not from getting what we want, but from anticipation, from the wanting itself, which is why satisfaction never lasts, and why we keep chasing. Tanha's influence actually comes in 3 flavors. Craving for sensual pleasures, food, sex, comfort, gadgets. Craving for existence, to be somebody, to leave a mark. Think follower counts, career ambitions. And craving for non-existence, the desire to escape or numb out. Binging Netflix, drinking, doom scrolling. So how do you know when Tanha's working on you? Watch for the "I'll be happy when" thought. The itch to check your phone constantly. The feeling that what you have is never enough. And how do you deal with her? Buddha didn't say fight her or suppress her. Instead, notice her. Observe the craving. See it clearly. As Buddha taught, from craving springs grief. From craving springs fear. But for one free from craving, no grief, no fear. Here's a simple experiment. Next time you feel a strong urge to buy something, to scroll, pause. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Just watch the craving. You might be surprised how it fades when you don't feed it. The space between wanting and acting, that's where your freedom lives. And next up, we'll meet Mara's second daughter, Arati, the force of boredom and discontent. And trust me, she's even sneakier.
Now let's meet Mara's second daughter, Arati, the embodiment of boredom and discontent. While her sister Tanha gets you to chase things you don't have, Arati works in the opposite way, by making you restless and dissatisfied with what you do have. She's that little voice whispering, "Is this it? This is so boring. There's got to be something better." In the ancient texts, Buddha described Arati as a force that stirs up restlessness and inner dissatisfaction. And in modern life, oh, you can see her handiwork everywhere. Think about this. When was the last time you sat quietly for 10 minutes? No phone, no music, no TV, no conversation. Just sitting. It's hard, right? That discomfort you feel, that itch to do something, that's Arati's work. And studies back this up in the most shocking ways. At the University of Virginia, researchers ran an experiment. People were asked to sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. No distractions. Most people hated it so much, they literally chose to give themselves electric shocks rather than just sit in stillness. Let that sink in. Actual physical pain seemed better than boredom. Arati has leveled up in the smartphone era. That urge to pull out your phone during a commercial, that need to check notifications in an elevator, even scrolling at a red light. Yep, that's her. Studies now show that the average person checks their phone 150 times a day, not because they need to, but because they can't tolerate unoccupied moments. And Buddha recognized this tendency long before smartphones. He talked about a restless mental state called abhijappa, a mind that can't settle. We bounce endlessly between craving and aversion, between wanting and rejecting, never truly content. And here's where Arati's influence is especially sneaky. She loves to attack during meditation. Ever tried to meditate and suddenly started thinking, "This is pointless. I'm wasting time. I should be doing something productive"? That's Arati. She wants you to feel like simple presence isn't enough, that life should always be exciting, always novel, always stimulating. But here's the truth. Peace and joy don't come from constant stimulation. They come from being able to rest fully in the present moment. Buddha didn't condemn boredom. He didn't say it was wrong to feel restless. Instead, he taught us to notice it, to watch the feeling arise in the mind and body, and not react automatically. In one of his most profound teachings, the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha says, "When the mind is restless, one knows, my mind is restless." That simple awareness starts to dissolve Arati's grip. Because here's the secret. Arati's game depends on you not noticing her. She wants your boredom to feel natural, inevitable, so that you automatically reach for distraction. The moment you see her clearly, her spell weakens. So the next time you feel that itch of boredom, instead of reaching for your phone or turning on a show, try something radical. Get curious. What does that restlessness feel like? Where do you feel it in your body? Is it really as unbearable as it seems? Modern neuroscience actually supports this approach. Research shows that avoiding boredom constantly rewires the brain, making us less able to focus, less creative, and, ironically, more prone to boredom. That's why certain meditation practices, like Zen's just sitting or Vipassana's body scanning, are so powerful. They're not just spiritual techniques, they're training in Arati resistance. They build your capacity to be fully present with life, even the boring parts. Because, and this is key, the most profound moments often come on the other side of boredom. When you stop running from stillness, you find something deeper, a kind of quiet joy, a subtle curiosity, an unexpected richness in the present moment. As the Buddha said, there is no higher happiness than peace. And peace isn't the absence of boredom. It's freedom from being controlled by it. So the next time you feel that urge to distract yourself, pause. Breathe. Maybe, just maybe, choose to sit with the discomfort. Because that space, that's where your true power lives. And now, it's time to meet Mara's third daughter, possibly his most dangerous, Raga, the force of passion and lust. Of the three sisters, Raga is the most misunderstood and in many ways the most seductive. When Buddha talks about Raga, he's not just referring to sexual desire, though that's certainly part of it. He's talking about any intense, fiery attachment that clouds your judgment. Think of that rush when you're infatuated with someone, that burning need to be recognized, that righteous anger when you're convinced you're right, that obsessive focus on something you must have or achieve. That's Raga at work.
In the Anguttara Nikaya, Buddha says, just as a tree cut down sprouts again if its roots remain unharmed, suffering arises again as long as the roots of passion remain. Because Raga pulls us into obsession, into losing ourselves in a feeling. Unlike craving, which is about wanting what we don't have, or boredom, which rejects what we do have, passion is about getting lost in the intensity of the moment. And here's what makes Raga tricky. She makes us feel good, really good, at first. Pleasure, excitement, power, conviction. But when we're swept away by that fire, jealousy, infatuation, rage, do we make our best choices? Usually not. And here's the thing. Modern culture worships passion. Follow your passion, live passionately, go all in. But Buddha taught a more nuanced view. Passionate feelings aren't bad. He wasn't anti-pleasure or anti-joy, but he warned against enslavement to passion, building your life around chasing intense emotional highs. Because passion is fleeting, and chasing it constantly is like trying to warm yourself with lightning. It looks powerful, but it won't last. In today's world, Raga works through plenty of channels. Dating apps, social media validation, outrage culture, hustle culture that glorifies burnout. And Buddha offered a brilliant way to work with this. In the famous Fire Sermon, he compared our sensory experiences, sights, sounds, tastes, emotions, to a fire, not something to fear, but something to understand, to see clearly as impermanent. So how do we deal with Raga? Not by suppressing passion, that only backfires. Instead, we build a mindful relationship with it. When intense emotions arise, Buddhist practice suggests observing them with curiosity. Oh, there's anger. There's desire. Don't judge. Don't feed. Just see clearly. And with this awareness, you create space, a pause between the feeling and your response. That pause is everything. As the Buddha taught, from passion springs grief, from passion springs fear. For one free from passion, no grief, no fear. The goal isn't to become emotionless, it's to become free. Free to feel without being controlled by feeling. And here's a beautiful twist. Of all Mata's daughters, Raga is the one who can most easily be transformed. Her fiery energy, when channeled wisely, can fuel compassion, creativity, even spiritual awakening. Some Buddhist traditions even talk about turning poison into medicine, using the energy of passion as a force for good. And that brings us back to that epic night under the Bodhi tree with Buddha surrounded by Mara's armies, tempted by these three daughters with everything at stake. So what did Buddha do? That moment coming up next.
So let's return to that legendary night beneath the Bodhi tree. The future Buddha sits in deep meditation. Mara has thrown everything at him. His terrifying armies, chaotic storms, the seductive pull of craving, the gnawing discomfort of discontent, the fiery grip of passion. His three daughters dance and whisper, trying every trick to pull him off his path. What does Buddha do? He doesn't fight. He doesn't resist. He doesn't run. Instead, he simply reaches down with his right hand. Fingers lightly touch the earth beneath him. This is known as the Bhumishparsha Mudra, the earth-touching gesture. With this simple act, Buddha calls the earth itself to witness. I belong here. I have the right to seek liberation. I see you, Mara. No spells, no battles, just deep, unwavering presence. And in that moment, Mara's illusions crumble, the daughters lose their grip, the armies vanish, the temptations dissolve, and Buddha awakens, becoming the enlightened one. Now, here's why this story still matters 2,500 years later. Buddha didn't leave us a myth, he left us a roadmap. The secret wasn't in some divine intervention, it was in awareness, the ability to see clearly. Modern science actually backs this up. A 2015 study from Brown University showed that mindfulness meditation changes brain activity in regions linked to craving and emotional reactivity. Another study from University College London found mindfulness more effective than sheer willpower for breaking unwanted habits. Why? Because when you see the craving, the boredom, the passion, when you name it, it loses power. For Tanhā, craving, awareness reveals the emptiness of wanting. You see the mind's story. This will make me happy. And you can choose not to believe it. For Arati, discontent, awareness uncovers the richness of the present. The more closely you pay attention, the more even ordinary moments become interesting. For Raga, passion, awareness gives you space. You can feel the heat without getting burned. You can experience desire without being consumed by it. In the Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha taught, when walking, know, I am walking. When standing, know, I am standing. When sitting, know, I am sitting. When lying down, know, I am lying down. It sounds simple, but it's profound. It's about bringing full awareness to every moment, leaving no room for Mara or his daughters to sneak in unnoticed. And here's the deeper wisdom. Whatever we think, we become. With our thoughts, we make the world. Buddha's insight wasn't just spiritual, it's psychological. When we live on autopilot, when we're driven by unseen cravings, restlessness, and passions, we suffer. But when we see clearly, we gain choice. And with choice comes freedom. Now here's something most people don't know. Even after enlightenment, Mara still appeared to Buddha. But the difference? Buddha always saw him clearly. I see you, Mara. That's real victory, not the absence of temptation, but the presence of awareness. And here's where it gets practical, for you, for me, for anyone watching this video. When you feel the urge to buy something you don't need, I see you, Tanha.
When you feel restless during a quiet moment, I see you, Arati. When you feel swept up in overwhelming passion or anger, I see you, Raga. Just naming what's happening cuts its power dramatically. As Buddha said, just as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, the wise are not shaken by praise or blame. And with practice, you build an inner stability that can't be moved by Mara's tricks. But here's the big question. Are Mara and his daughters real supernatural beings, or just symbols for psychological forces? The answer, it doesn't really matter. Whether you see them as literal demons or as metaphors, the practice is the same. See clearly. Name the force. Don't fight, don't follow, just notice.
Different Buddhist traditions interpret Mara differently. Theravada Buddhism often views Mara as representing the 5 aggregates that bind us to suffering. Mahayana traditions emphasize that even Mara is empty of inherent existence, subject to dependent origination. Vajrayana sometimes teaches that Mara's energies can actually be transformed into enlightened awareness through specialized practices. But no matter the tradition, one thing remains true. Mara's daughters are everywhere. In your phone, in your mind, in your daily habits. Every ad, every notification, every scroll. All designed to play on those ancient forces, craving, discontent, passion. But here's the twist, and this may surprise you. What if Mara's daughters aren't our enemies? What if they're our greatest teachers? Think about it. Tanhā doesn't just cause suffering, she reveals where we are attached. The stronger the craving, the clearer the lesson. Arati doesn't just make us uncomfortable, she invites us into presence. The boredom she stirs shows us where we resist life as it is. Raga doesn't just cloud our minds, he shows us the raw power of our own energy. And when recognized, that fire can fuel compassion, creativity, wisdom. In other words, the daughters aren't obstacles. They are the path. They are the gym where we build our spiritual muscles. As one Zen master said, no mud, no lotus. Without challenge, no growth. So next time you feel craving pulling at you, or boredom pushing you to distract yourself, or passion clouding your mind, try this. Don't see it as a failure. Don't see it as a problem. See it as an opportunity, a chance to practice awareness, a chance to touch the earth and remember, I see you, Mara. Because the power of Mara and his daughters only works when we don't see them. The moment you recognize them, you're already free. So, wisdom seekers, keep your eyes open. Mara's daughters are everywhere. In your phone, in your mind, in your daily life. But with awareness, their temptations become your teachers. So tell me, which daughter visits you most often? Tanhā's endless wanting? Arati's restless boredom? Raga's consuming passion? Share your experience in the comments below. And if you found value in today's journey, help spread the insight. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's facing their own battle with Mara's daughters. Until next time, this is Matt from Buddha's Wisdom, reminding you the greatest superpower is simply seeing clearly.